Hi, friends. Dorothy Morgan here. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I've been a professional astrologer since the early 90s, and I do a lot of video forecasting here on, well, wherever you're seeing this, but I'm posting this main video here on YouTube. And I feel the need to start a new series, and I'm going to be doing that. And what I want to talk about in this series is the important thing about the astrology forecasts. I do them, a lot of people do them. I mean, I do them, the YouTube shorts, and they're on my Facebook, etc., etc. The short stuff is fun to do. It keeps my face in front of you, and it is marketing, and it is short information for us to use. However, the truth really is that not all of those daily forecasts or even the weekly forecast is going to line up with what your life is, what you're experiencing in your life. And that's okay because honestly, that's how astrology works. And it's important to remember that. So I wanted to start this series. I'm going to be doing something once a month. I will focus once in a while on a aspect that's happening and I'll just switch it up. So this time, what inspired this is last week I did a forecast, and it doesn't even matter when this was, but last week I did a forecast on the moon in Taurus. And when the moon is in Taurus, it brings us stability and comfort, a chance to slow down and take care of ourselves and nurture ourselves. And that is very true when the moon is in the sign of Taurus. However, someone left it was very thoughtful comment saying, am I the only one dealing with a mentally ill person? I'm reading it right now who's having an episode because of the current astrology in air quotes. And they asked if I would address this, and this has been the inspiration for what I'm going to do about once a week for us. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about because it sounds very much like that moon in Taurus, and what it represents is not in alignment with what this person is experiencing. So when we give those forecasts like that, we even had the moon in Taurus sextiling Mercury, I mean, sextiling Mars, and that, really made this energy heightened where there was a lot going on in insight and communication, etc. So it's like the weather. Let's just get back to that. And this describes the overall atmosphere that we're going through and we're all feeling, right? So even though it's sunny where you're at, it could be raining, on the other side of the state, right? So it's not going to fit for everybody. So, in the meaning of this and the purpose of this is because, we have our own personal charts. And we're all experiencing what we're experiencing through the lens of what our chart is. And a lot of us are on max right now. We're not starting with a full empty cup at the beginning of every day or all the spoons, however you want to say it. And so some of us reach our limits way quicker. So even when there is an aspect in the sky, it doesn't necessarily influence what's going on for you. Okay. So when our own personal chart has something happening to it that has more strength, more power, is larger, like an outer planet, like Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, any of those are doing something else in a person's chart, it's going to, for the most part, override the short little daily forecast that I give you. Okay. So we want to keep that in mind. But those short little daily forecasts I give you for sure are predicting what the astrological weather for the day is like. However, it doesn't mean that you're going to pay attention to it because you may have too much going on. So those general forecasts, in a sense, set the tone for the day. And the personal transits, how whatever personal transits you as an individual is experiencing, that transit is what is giving you your truth and your experience for that day. Okay? I hope that piece makes a little sense. I'm finding where I'm recording here. There we are. So let's set the expectation here. So when you listen to an astrologer, myself, anyone, it's just want you to remember that these forecasts for the daily forecasts are a sense of the collective mood and the overall feeling. You may notice the opportunity, you may feel aligned with it, you may even flow with it, but you might not as well, because those daily forecasts are not a substitute for knowing exactly what's going on in your life. It doesn't have to fit perfectly with what your chart is. Now, that's not saying astrology is wrong because it's not, but what it's saying is your personal astrology may be louder than what's going on in the sky or what me or some other astrologer has chosen to focus on for that week. Okay? So that is what I want us to mainly keep in mind when we're looking at these daily forecasts. Now, so every week in this, I'm going to read my notes real quick. So every week in this series, I'm going to either the next week will be about some of your comments, some of your questions, whatever you show me that's important for you to understand here. We're not going to do personal readings, but we're going to just questions that can be answered that can benefit everybody. I will check into those. I'll create some from some of your questions and comments, as well as I have a whole series already ready to go and set up so you can get an idea as to why it might work for you and why things might not work for you. And really, what it comes down is it's more about what your personal transits are as opposed to everything that's going on in the sky. But again, you can still use what's going on in the general forecast as a the weather report, if you will, the astrological weather report, so you know what you're meeting when you walk out your front door. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I will see you again in about 5 days. I have something ready to go in for about 5 days from the time I launch this. All right, thank you, everybody. Please comment, like, share. My website has all kinds of excellent content on it besides just these YouTube shorts. And there is blogs, there is sessions, there are classes you can take. Come check it out. I think I'm done. Namaste.